Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. Being the last briefer, you tend to get a collection of cats and dogs, and that's exactly what I have for you today. One of the reasons that I'm up here briefing what we call external requirements are DISA does an awful lot of procurements for other entities, such as MAGCOMs, COCOMs, anybody really across DoD and a few other government agencies. So, for example, Department of Homeland Security. So these requirements, I'm going to brief 7 requirements, and it's a lot tougher for these external requirements for us to give you a heads up. And the reason is we get into the acquisition life cycle a lot further down the line. We get it as a procurement package into the DITCO, and it so happens, as Jim said, I'm the chief of DITCO Scott, and DITCO Scott is the primary contracting office for external requirements that come into us. So I'm going to cover 7 of those, but before I do that, some of the cats and dogs, I'm going to answer or address 2 questions that were deferred by Sharon Jones to this afternoon, and then I have 3 slides that are really kind of public service announcements. They're issues that have come up during the last year, probably the last few months, that we thought it might be worthwhile putting them on a chart to pass along just from an educational standpoint. And then again, we'll go over the 7 requirements. Okay, so first, before we go on to the first slide, we'll do a little housekeeping and catch up on the deferred questions. So if you may recall, I think it was Mr. Pete Haney of SES Government Solutions asked a couple questions. Sharon Jones said we'd answer them this afternoon. And they really apply across the board, although they were asked in the ComSatCom area, they really apply to all procurements. But one of them was, and I may not rephrase it exactly right, but I think I'll hit the main meaning. How do we determine if we will set aside a ComSatCom requirement for small business? And I know this is probably going to seem like a very academic answer, but it is because we always follow the same process. And that process is we do our market research, and that market research can include RFIs, it can include sources sought, it can include research on the web, it can include industry days, it can include discussing with our industry partners. But we gather all that information up, we put together a market research report. That's a comprehensive document on the research that we have done. And by the way, this is done for every requirement. Okay, it's not. We don't do it like one market research report covers 100 requirements. It's done for every requirement. And then once we get this all together in the procurement office, then we go and collaborate with our DISA Office of Small Business Programs, who in turn may or may not, depending on the circumstances, collaborates with the Small Business Administration. And at the end of the day, it's a form called a DD Form 2479. We document what the decision was as to whether or not we're going to set something aside for small business. Okay? And the real key to this, why I say it's academic, is if you read the Federal Acquisition Regulations, the rule of 2 applies. It doesn't matter what you're buying. The rule of 2 applies if you can demonstrate that 2 or more small businesses are capable of proposing on the requirement, then it's to be set aside for small business. It's that simple. And we really follow those processes every single time. Now, once in a while, we may take a market research report down to the Office of Small Business Programs, and they may say, wow, we don't think you've done an adequate job putting together the market research report. Well, we'll scurry back, get additional information, and then come back and discuss it further. But that is how that decision is made. And then, of course, we put the solicitation out on the street. History does come into play. If we go out with small business set-asides and they prove to be successful, then the thought is it was successful before, why wouldn't it be successful in the future? Okay? So that's the response to that. And again, it doesn't just deal with ComSatCom, but it really deals with anything. Okay, there was another question, and it referred to, I think the term was brought up, slim profit margins and it's really hard under an LPTA approach versus a full trade-off. Both are part of the best value continuum. It's really hard for small business to operate with that slim margin, and is that taken into consideration? And the answer is no, it's not. So that is not taken into consideration when we make a determination whether we're going to go full trade-off or whether we're going to do LPTA. Some of the things we look for are, is there some trade space? Okay, are there things that we can really trade off that would make a difference? And if those trades exist, can they be measured? Okay, and if they can be measured, is it something that the government, is it something that's beneficial enough to the government that we would be worth paying more for it? So that's kind of the thought process we make as we go down that. Nowhere into that equation comes the fact about profit margins or anything like that. Okay, so I think that hopefully answers the two questions. Okay, now we'll go on, basically 3 slides, kind of public service announcements. I guess I control that. Okay, so a couple of our briefers today. First started off with General Zabel, talked about increasing communication, and then I know Alfred Rivera jumped on that and basically said the term proactive engagement. So this slide is really applies to both of those terms. About a year and a half ago, DoD started a program. It's called Sapphire, and no, it's not surface to air fire. Systems for Acquisition Forecast, Input, Retrieval, and Engagement. And it was an initiative by the DoD Small Business Office in conjunction with the Small Business Administration, and it was a way to gather requirements across all DoD to help provide information mainly to small business, but not just to small business, so that the businesses knew or industry knew where DoD was going and what the interest areas were. Well, as of today, DISA has put in several inputs. I think we put 3 inputs into that system on a periodic basis. DoD has not released information at much less than probably the 100,000 foot level. So what we've done, since we're already gathering that information, and kind of the criteria is if it's a $5 million requirement spread over, let's say, 3 years, it goes into this Sapphire system. We thought, why should we waste that? Why not publish it? We look at what we put into the DoD system, we redact a little bit, and then we publish it on our DISA website. It's the website, the bottom one in blue, www.disa.mil. And so I just wanted to point that out to you. So that is another way you can get information through the year. As the slide says, we put something on there in February and in August, and our next edition will be in January. So that's something you can look at. Those requirements will probably be a little bit smaller than some of the requirements that you saw today. So it may be a more extensive list. So I went to the website yesterday, and if you're interested in that, you go to the DoD, to the DISA website. It's under News and Events. Then you click on Events, and here's the trick. Right now, we probably have it in the wrong place. If you go to look for it tonight, right now it's under 2005 Forecast to Industry. We got to move that up. But the title of the file is DoD PSD Forecast of Procurement Actions, May 2016. So that is the most current version, and unfortunately it is listed under FY15. So anyway, if you go looking for that. Okay, so that's public service announcement number 1. Number 2, okay, we had a question a couple months ago about, do we have an ombudsman if somebody wants to discuss something that deals with an IDIQ, multiple award IDIQ contract? And we do, and his name is Mr. Mark Yeomans. And his job in that role is to ensure that everybody who is a player on that multiple award IDIQ contract has a fair opportunity for work. And he is an independent source for industry to go to should they need a second set of eyes on it. Now, we always say go to the contracting officer first, Give he or she an opportunity to address your concerns. But I just wanted to let everybody know that that person is there as a resource should you elect to use him. There's no specific time frame that Mr. Yeomans needs to get back to you, but he will do that as quickly as he can. I talked to him yesterday. He said the preferred way of folks coming to him would be if you could send him an email and then either follow it up with a call or he'll call you, but that way he can kind of digest the situation ahead of time. Okay. The next announcement deals with Unified Capabilities Approved Product List. Had a little bit of confusion within industry on the approved products list and what you need to do to get something sponsored to be on the approved products list. You know, the Unified Capabilities APL, it's a consolidated list of products that have completed interoperability and information assurance testing and have been certified. The products, once they're certified, go on the list for 3 years. Now, once the product falls off the 3 years, once the 3 years is up, most of them or a lot of them are renewed. If not, the question has come in, does that mean we have to stop using the product? No, it just means we cannot procure the product. Okay? There's been some questions about how you seek government sponsorship to get something on the list. You go to whoever the DISA organization is that would be most interested in your product and you seek that sponsorship. So that's on you to go do that. If it is sponsored, then depending on where it racks and stacks on our priorities, we determine who's going to pay for what, and we proceed on with the testing and the things that need to be done to get the item on the list. There's a great website, it's listed at the bottom of the slide, with a lot of information on there. We just fielded an enhancement yesterday, the very bottom bullet of this slide. We just fielded an enhancement at the request of industry that will let you know if we make changes to that website. We had some folks come in and ask us, hey, you know, if something changes on the APL or they're looking for other opportunities or looking for other equipment to go on the APL, is there any way we can be pinged? And so we went and upgraded the system and actually went operational yesterday. So you can go on there, and it's a little tab that says subscribe to receive UCR email updates, and it will send you an email if we make any changes to the system. Okay? Okay, so those are our public service announcements. We have 6 or 7 external requirements. Again, there are a lot more than 7. It's just we don't usually see these until a procurement package is ready, so they change much more quickly than DISA requirements. The first one, sleepy little requirement, maybe somebody's heard about it, Encore 3. It is in source selection right now. Proposals were due on the 21st of October. Can't say really anything about it. It's in source selection. Expecting to award first quarter FY18. Okay, this next one, Mies, dovetails with General Dravis's presentation. This one is really in the market research acquisition planning phase, trying to determine how many of these customers should be put under one umbrella for lumping their IT requirements together in the Pentagon. It's moving pretty fast, so it's still trying to be determined. Is a joint service provider going to stand alone? Is it going to be lumped in with 2 other organizations? Scheduled to be out second quarter FY17, but I would watch this one closely. We issued a sources sought in June of this year, and it's anticipated that it will be a small business set aside. Okay, the next one. Program Management and Engineering Support Services. It's basically program support for the various PEO C3T product managers at Aberdeen. So a preponderance of the work will be at Aberdeen Proving Grounds. There will be some work outside of that area, but that will be a preponderance of the work. Still in the acquisition strategy phase. We're anticipating, again, this could change, we're anticipating a single award IDIQ, but again, it could change. Okay, ECMI is a requirement for the Army, and it's modernizing their cryptographic capability of their tactical radios. It's the development phase. It will include development engineering, a solution, and then it will also lead to a low-rate initial production capability. One would probably assume, depending on how that goes, there probably will be a larger production buy after that. But this is just for the development in a low-rate production. Okay, mounted family of computer systems. Blue Force, this is a Blue Force tracker requirement, ruggedizing laptops to be mounted in various vehicles. And looks like that will be coming out about third quarter FY17. Pretty aggressive schedule on that one, but that's what we're shooting for. Now we're going to turn to the ComSatCom side of the house. We have several ComSatCom requirements. You may be asking why they weren't with Mr. Showers. We consider ComSatCom external requirements, even though they go through his organization. But the first one, CTC 247, hopefully will be out by the end of this month. That's what my folks are telling me. And it is anticipated it will be a small business set-aside. ComSatCom CTC 260, which is 22 megahertz C-band for MDA. Again, anticipating a small business set-aside. RFP should be issued in the next 45 days. CTC 261, we're anticipating full and open on that one. 144 megahertz KU band for CENTCOM. RFP should be released in the next 2 weeks. That's what we're showing. CTC 263. This one, I didn't put the quarter on the slide, but I can tell you what they are. Should be released first quarter FY17. So I neglected to put first quarter on that one, with an award in second quarter of FY17. Anticipated that it will be a small business set-aside. CSS 051, which is subscription services. The dates on this are wrong. The dates on the slide are too aggressive. RFP release will be fourth quarter of 2017, with an award projected as first quarter 2018, and we anticipate this one will be full and open. CSS 0063, looks like we're on target for a first quarter FY16 release, and it's anticipated to be a small business set-aside. CSS 0064, we're trying to accelerate this one, trying to accelerate the release of the RFP to first quarter 17. However, we are still in the market research phase. We do anticipate this will be a small business set-aside. And then the last one, SBS 0016, was canceled by the mission partner, so that is no longer a requirement. Okay, and then the final entry on here is not really a requirement, but at last year's venue, we had a request. In the past, we had done a little better job in the past forecasting ComSatCom requirements. We worked on that this year. We've released ComSatCom requirements on 3 different dates, one in July of 16, then October of this year, and then we will update that again in January of 2017. So you can go to that site that's there, the eBuy GSA Gov site, and it will give you a forecast of just the ComSatCom requirements. There's some contact information should you have any questions. And I can take any questions that you might have. Okay, thank you.